So the one thing we haven't looked at is this. They call it their fourth axis. I mean, it's like a mini lathe, eh? I do have a hobby lathe. It's a Vivo MX8, I think. Not the best. I mean, you know, it's a bit chattery, but it does what I wanted to do. But this feels solidly built, and I'm actually pretty excited because it's a lathe. It's the king of all tools. What you can do on this, well, I'm about to find out, but I'm excited to find out what you can do with it. Now, fitting it actually isn't all that obvious. They tell you to take a couple of these dowels and fit this to the center of the plate using the dowel holes. The dowel holes really aren't obvious. They're about the middle, and from the front it's 1, 2, 3, it's the fourth hole, and then right there it's exactly the same, and they fit on these little holes here and here to hold the thing in place. So you basically just slot that on. When we've done that, these should line up. They're screw holes, and we take the M5x20s, there's 6 of them, screw them in there. In order to get them in there, you're going to have to loosen off the headstock. Right, when you've got it in place, you know the jaws are actually set for the holding large circular objects. I want it the other way around. I want those in the centre because I want to hold a bit of bar. And it comes supplied with these things, which are the keys. One goes in there, one goes in there. They come out anti-clockwise and in clockwise. And so just hold on to that and then twiddle it and those jaws will come out. Now they're actually numbered 1 to 4, there's a little 4 stamped in there. Apparently when they're that way around you need to do them 4, 3, 2, 1, and when they're that way around you need to do them 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to have them that way around. Right, when you've done that you've got this connection cable, and there is at the back right there 2 input ports. It's input port 1, which is the nearest to the side here. Just undo the dust cover, slide that into place. Now there's also a little clamp there, and that gets screwed into where that screw is. There's a screw right next here. Undo the screw the clamp in, use the original screw to screw it in place. As far as I can work out, that's pretty much the setup. Now, I forgot to mention, do make sure it's turned off. Right, as far as I can work out, that's it, we're ready to go. The tailstock can be moved up and down by loosening off these bolts here, and there's a little adjustment screw, lock screw right there. The headstock actually stays where it is. It needs to be lined up with the back of here so it's nicely in line, because on the top there's a little indentation. That indentation is the home for the probe and actually the reference point for all of the measurements that this takes. But that's pretty much it set up. Now of course we need to look at the software. What I want to do is to make an axle to fit into these 2 parts that I've made previously out of aluminium, and they've got a square profile, a 5mm square profile round there. And I've got a bit of 8mm brass bar to go through my bearings, and of course what I need to do at the end is mill off exactly the right profiles to make axles for that and that. To do that I created this sketch. The sketch I've gone through in a previous video, and then I padded the sketch out at 8mm to create this. Now all we need to do is export that as a step file. Okay, so we click on Makera Cam and get the welcome screen, and this time we want new project on the 4-axis, and we click on that, and we get to this screen here. Now on that screen we've got the stock setup that we can do. We get to that by clicking edit, and you can see we've got brass, we've got round or square. I've chosen round because of course I'm using rod. The rod is 8mm in diameter and the length I want is 80mm. Once we set that up we can click OK, and it draws this representation for us on the main screen. Where that dot is coincident with the little indentation that I showed you, and the recommended distance from that dot to the start of your project is 50mm. So we're going to be doing something at 50mm, but the first thing we need to do is to import our 3D model. So we click on import, click on the model that we drew up, click open, and hey presto, our model is imported. If we have a look at it, we can see it is in the wrong orientation. So we need to change that orientation by clicking on adjust the object, in which case we get the transform bar and we can rotate it, and we want to rotate it 90 degrees so it's lying in plane. Right, once we've got that position in that direction, of course, we want it positioned correctly in that red direction, so we need to click on the move. We can either click there on a just object, or we can hover over the actual object and right-click on it, and you see you get the transform, and we can click on move. And here it's telling you where the location is in the red, which is the X direction, and here we've got it located at 40 millimeters. We actually want it located at 50 millimeters. So if we locate that at 50 millimeters, what it'll do is locate the center at 50. So if we locate that at 54 millimeters, then it will locate it so that edge is 54 millimeters away instead of being locked to the center. Now what we need to do is close that and create some supports for this. So to create supports for it in the work plane, you right click and you'll get this thing create. We create a 3D model, and you can see we've got some basic shapes we can create, including cube, cylinder, and cone. Click on cylinder, set the cylinder diameter to be 8 and the height to be 50, and it will create that cylinder for us in that workplace. If we hover the cross arrows in the workplace and this time left click, it will create that cylinder exactly where we want it to be. If it isn't where we want it to be, let's just close that for a second. If it isn't where we want to be and we click on the transform move, then we get this quick align stock where we can align it, and you see it's a little bit out in the Y direction here, so we align it properly. It actually moves it through center and center, and if you remember we wanted that at 25, so we can rechange that, close it, and we've got that in the right position for that to be cut out. Of course, we're missing that end section, so we need to create another cylinder. So remember it's right click, create 3D model, cylinder, and this time diameter is 8, but the height is going to be 22 because that's what's left once we take off the length of this, which is 8 and 58 for that. We need 22 to make it up to 80, so we can change that to 22. If we then go to there and again click on it, remember it's left click, it will create that cylinder for us. We can close that, and of course that's in the wrong place, so we need to move it. So transform and move, and here we want to put this to 0 so that it's exactly on where we want it to be, and you can see that just moved a little bit. And this one, we want to have the location to be 69. When we put in 69 on there, what it does is moves the center up to the top end of that piece that we just created. Click close, and we can see that we've got exactly what we want. We now have our bar ready to cut out. The reason I've made this 8 millimeters is I'm going to cut that through the center to create 2 axles at once, leaving me a little bit of waste that I'm going to need to file down. Final thing, now we're ready, we need to create our rotation relief. Remember, when you create normal maps, you're using this for pockets and contours and so on. When we're in this 4th axis, it's rotation relief. So we click on rotation relief, it pulls up this screen, and here's where we set everything we want to play around with, including the tool. And I'm going to use this 12 millimeter flat end for metal. We just scroll down the whole thing and set whatever you want. The most important one actually is enable tailstock. If you disenable tailstock, it will carry on to the end. If you enable it, then it will know there's a tailstock, so it won't go beyond the end. Don't forget to select your model, which we've selected that center piece there, and then we click calculate, and it'll create that path for us. And there's, close that. There is the path that will it cut. There is the path that it's going to follow, and that's the one that we export. Go to path, export the path, click on the one that you want to export. There we go, and we can hit export. Now, apparently, you're really meant to do this in 2 passes. Where we're using this tool bit, which is a 3.175 flat end metal tool bit, that's the rough pass. When you've done that rough pass, then you create another tool path using this bit, which is the 30 degree 0.2 millimeter metal engraving bit, and again create another tool path just like we did, and run it again with this one. Right, so I've loaded a bit of 8mm brass bar, 80 millimeters long. Now, the distance from the edge here to the headstock is 50 millimeters, and so normally you leave that as a 50 millimeter offset. But if you remember, I drew this bar out, and so what I want the cut to begin is that black mark, which is about sort of 5 millimeters, maybe 10 millimeters further on. It's not too critical here, but what you normally do when you're in the config is you're in the window, you hit config, and you'll see that there's an X offset. The Y offset's always 0 because it's the center. The X offset is how much further it will move out of here. Now that's set at 50 when you're using this because it's the offset from the corner and we need to go 50 in from the marker point here to avoid hitting this. But I'm going to make the offset 5 because I've done all of this already. It's going to start its cut right there. Now you can see that if I click OK, then we'll get this little pretty window and the green is there just beyond the headstock by about 1 centimetre or so. So that's a bit of fiddling around to get your head around actually, but it seems to work fine. And if I want to do that, I can now press run and it'll go through the probe, ask us to change the cutting tool and begin the cut. So we cut them in half and clean that top up to be 3mm and we get ourselves 2 axles, one for the eccentric and one for the output. Now to be honest, I didn't find that terribly easy. I did struggle with it a little bit. Now I'm sure that given a bit of practice it'll become second nature. I'm already getting very much quicker on the 3-axis and this is the first use of the 4-axis. But that business about the offsets took me a little bit of thinking through. Again, it'll be something that just becomes second nature, I'm pretty sure. But it is an awesome bit of kit, but does take an extra little bit of learning. Anyway, we've got our axles, we've got them keyed, now we need to fit this whole thing together that we've been creating through this entire project. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and please do remember to like and subscribe.